Welcome back. Today we're doing a 1 year skate skills update. We are a little bit past my 1 year. We are 2 months past to be exact. This was meant to be a much more structured video with lots of now and then footage and all kinds of things, but there is so much footage to go through and I haven't gotten to it. My 1 year skate was in October and now October's gone, November's gone. Now we're halfway through December. I feel like I'm never going to get to it unless I just do it this way. So here we are today. We're going to sit down and chit chat. I've got some footage of now. And if you want to see the footage of then, go ahead and check out my learning how to roller skate in 30 days video down below. That is where all the clips were supposed to come from that aren't going to be in this video. But pretty much if you've ever seen anybody learn to skate, you know what it looked like. It was flailing, it was bobbling, it was flobbling, it was messy. It was me trying to learn how to balance, learn how to stop, learn how to just like propel myself forward, doing bubbles, learning how to transition, things like that. And so now I'm going to show you where I'm at with some of those today. The very first things I started working on a year ago was just trying to propel forward, which for me that's bubbles. So you can see now they're pretty easy for me. I do bubbles forwards and backwards with ease. Skating backwards is another thing that I started learning really early on. This is actually what drew my attention to skating at all, and this is what I wanted to be able to do. So it was one of the first things I started learning was backward skating, and I'm pretty good at it now. I'm also just gotten so much more balanced. And I've also learned how to stop pretty effectively. This was also a really hard one. This was kind of scary, this little like transition C-stop, I believe is what it's called. A year ago, that terrified me, but now it's an everyday routine type of thing. I also started learning crossovers back then. Another thing that really scared me, kind of anything that required me to take 1 foot off the ground and only have 1 foot on, was just so scary. But as you can see now, I can do crossovers in both directions quite easily. And then turning was another thing I started to learn really early on that I really struggled with actually, but now I can do pretty darn well. You can see I can turn over my left shoulder really easily. That's what I'm doing here. I don't practice enough turning over my right, so I can do it, but it doesn't feel as good. I feel like now I'm at a place where instead of a beginner, I would call myself an intermediate. I feel like I have most of the basic beginner type skills down, and now I'm finding that when I go to learn a new trick or move, it kind of turns out I already know all of the like lead up to it because it's just all of the skills that I already learned. So back in the day when I didn't know anything about skating and it just started, I'd see someone, for example, in Venice Beach, I'd be skating and I'd see someone go up to someone else and say, "Hey, can you teach me that trick?" And in like 10 minutes, they'd be doing that trick. And I'd go home and be like, okay, let me learn a new skill. And it didn't come in 10 minutes. And I was like, obviously they're, more practice, but like, what's going on here? Turns out they didn't learn the trick from scratch in 10 minutes. They had 90% of the trick because 90% of the trick is just some sort of like beginner skill. And then you just add the flourish or add the little way that you turn your foot or something that makes it into the trick. So they were only learning 10% of what I was seeing. The other 90% of what I was seeing in that moment, they had already learned at home. And now I'm seeing myself do that. I went to do backwards crossovers and turns out I can do them. I've practically almost been doing them for a long time. Anytime I'm skating backwards and I go around that corner, my foot just kind of naturally wanted to go that way and I was almost doing it. And so when I started to learn the crossover, I learned in like 10 minutes because I was practically all the way there. All I had to do was just pick up the foot and sit it back down. Like it was that last tiny little step that made it the full trick. And so now I feel like I'm one of those people who's like, "Hey, teach me that trick." And I know it in 10 minutes because I already knew most of it. The longer I continue to skate, the more skills that I build and the more tricks that I know, the funner that skating is getting, honestly. It used to be a lot of falling down and never knowing what I'm feeling like. I never know what I'm doing. I'm constantly flailing, constantly like trying to learn something and I have no idea what I'm doing. Which came with a little bit of frustration as well as fun. Don't get me wrong, it was still so much fun, but it was just a lot harder. Now that I have a lot of those basic skills down and I know some different tricks and different fun things to do and I can kind of just groove and chill, I have a lot more fun with it. If I start to get frustrated that I'm not getting a certain move or something, I just move on to something else that I do know that I am good at and just work on that for a little bit, or perfect something that like I've started to get that I haven't, I don't fully have yet or something like that. And then I can revisit that whatever was, I was stuck on a little bit later in the skate session, and it just makes it a lot more fun. I can kind of just like chill and relax and groove in between. If like my favorite song comes on, I can just kind of bop around the course to it and just have fun. That's something that I'm getting, that I'm trying to practice more and more on, is really just like rhythm and finding like the groove to the music. For one, I just like don't have rhythm or groove much to begin with. I've never been like a dancer, someone who just like could naturally just move to music. Like I've done some dancing, but it was always like choreographed. I've never just freestyle, just gone by myself. And that's kind of what I want to be able to do. So I've been working on just like trying to move my body, trying to like feel more fluid and free. And it feels really, really awkward at this stage, but, we're getting there. It's definitely improvement. I've also just been learning some little, like choreographed dance combos and whatnot, which has been super fun, super basic things like mostly just footwork. Again, if I move away from focusing on my feet and balance into just grooving, I tend to lose my balance pretty easily. So, I really just need to focus even more on like staying grounded and balanced, but still letting my upper body kind of go with the flow. The muscles, particularly my legs and also core that I use when I'm skating, are definitely developing. Not only have I just been like doing workouts and other things outside of skating that have helped, but just regular practice in skating, getting those muscles used to what movements we usually do and whatnot, and building strength in my, in my legs and calves and core is, it's really, really helping. I'm finding a lot more balance and stability. I can catch myself when I start to fall a lot easier. I don't feel as wobbly when I'm on one leg versus the other because I have plenty of just balance and stability that's built up. I've also learned how to regain balance and not fall when I start to lose balance. You can see here, like I still lose balance really often, but I'm better at regaining balance and catching myself instead of actually just banana peeling out and falling. And now I want to show you some of the newer skills that I've been working on recently. So these are less polished, but some of the newer, funner things I've been working on now. Spread eagle is a trick that I really don't pull out very often, and I don't think I'm actually even doing it right. Looking at it, I don't think my knees are fully straight. But it's something that I've started to learn, so I wanted to include it. I've also been just very recently trying to learn the side surf. As you can see, my feet are not in a perfectly straight line, which I'm trying to work on, so I'm not completely there yet, but I feel like I'm getting there. Footwork and basically just balancing on one foot is something I've been working on quite a lot. Also, the strut walk. I struggle with my strut. I can't do it in place. I can only do it moving, which is weird because supposedly that's the harder one. But it is what it is. We'll keep working on that. And as I mentioned, I can also do cross pulls or the backwards crossovers, as well as manuals is a brand new thing I've just started learning. These are incredibly hard on my knees and quads, surprisingly hard. And I've just been working on like trying to learn how to, like I said, just groove and dance a little bit more. So I've trying to learn some choreography, just little like footwork, dance step type of things that I find online. And then also a very recent addition to my skate skills is jumping. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up down below. Subscribe while you're hanging out down there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!